Morning everyone, 14th of December, and it's hot here today, 11 degrees this morning, kind of crazy. It's overcast and raining, and no snow anymore, which is good. And we passed 100 days yesterday, so we're 101 days, and as of now there's only 7 GGR entrants still in the game. Guy has officially arrived in Cape Town. He was just offshore an hour ago, a mile or so offshore. So he's just coming in, and then he moves to Chichester class. And Arnaud is now officially retired. He'll move into the retired section. He declared he's out once he got to St Helena. And so we're back to 7 with one Chichester. And Guy will get stuck into the boat and work out what he's going to do once the barnacles are done. And we look forward to hearing his plans. And we'll have an interview with him once he's on shore there. Pete and Eve and the team are down there ready to film that interview and have a look at the barnacles once he's out of the water. The Royal Cape Yacht Club there are ready to receive him, and they'll pull him out straight away, and a couple of his friends are there to help clean the bottom and stuff as well, so we'll follow that with interest. If you want to sail around the world, you probably saw we've got our Explorer Swan 57 in the OGR, which is a bit of fun, and Captain Coconut of GGR fame is going to be the captain and be racing against Tapio, so there's still a GGR connection there anyway. So moving right along, let's look at the daily runs. Simon 135 nautical miles and Kirsten 67, and then Abelish 171. So a few things happening up the front, and that's likely to continue for the next 36 hours. And Captain Goog is 122. He's actually been in some pretty solid weather at the moment. He's just coming out the back of it right now, but he'd be having a tough time. It's a bit of work, and it's serious Southern Ocean, but it's not a storm. So he's going to come out with some stories out of that. Jeremy 94. He's also in typical large Southern Ocean stuff, which we'll talk about. So that's not bad, but obviously slowed down a little bit. Ian Herbert Jones 123, enjoying the ride, plenty of breeze, but a lot more milder conditions. And Elliot 152. We had a very funny call from Elliot last night, which we'll talk about later. Very funny. And Guy Waits 52. So all part of the fun. Anyway, that's an interesting story for later with Elliot. You'll all smile and laugh when we release that. Groundbreaking news. Okay, so you can see here a few little things going on down south here, a bit of colour there, and generally you can see this really solid westerly flow now, which is great, and that's what you want to see down the Southern Ocean. That's real roaring 40s, a big system. Down here the seas will be getting huge because it's growing, and they're building up now. So as we mentioned yesterday, we'll have a look at that anyway, but they'll be growing, and we've got this high forming coming over Simon, and that's where the game may change a little bit. So for now we don't need to talk about Guy. He's virtually there. He drifted down with no wind. I thought he would have made it earlier, but he waited offshore, stopped for a while, and come in at a respectable hour, which keeps everyone happy in the yacht club there. Okay, so here we go. Elliot is still ahead of Suhaili at the moment. There he goes, 6.1 knots, and did 152. That's the current position, so 152 in the last 24 hours. And Ian Herbert Jones is on 123, so that's cool. He'll be happy with that. And Jeremy, we could get him in the weather here, 3.9 knots. Yeah, I'd say he's just slowing down because of the conditions there. We can see what's happening with the sea here to be quite big now, and it'll hold that way. Yeah, that's pretty solid. That's well and truly over six metres. So he's got 6 metres there. He's probably getting constant 30, 35s, gusting high to 40s and things like that. Yeah, that's very solid Southern Ocean weather. Ian C's been building, or now he'll be backing off. It'll be moving away from him, but he'll be chasing that. So that's pretty normal. While we're looking at C's, we'll come across here. Goog, this is he's in this transition phase. You can see his course has gone down a bit as well. Because of the wind, and the wind's now swinging to the southwest, so the sea's changing for him, getting bigger as it comes back into here. So that's all going to be some good stories there. You can see he's got a bunch of breeze there, but we warned him about that yesterday. So and the movement's been pretty much on track, but certainly maybe we'll have some good pictures and videos to talk about later, which is kind of interesting. All right, so I'll get this back so we can see what's going on here, and we'll just transition the weather. Nothing's going to happen here, any great changes. It's just a constant flow. We'll just come forward a day. That's tomorrow morning. It's backing off a bit, so these guys have still got breeze. Google will be happy to get lighter breeze. It's all dying down a little bit. That's a day, but it's still reasonably solid. This is on the 16th now, and there's more coming. We'll have a look at this later on. It's formed just ahead of Ian, and then I think it's going to dip south, but we'll just have a look here. That's on the 17th. Yeah, no, it's going over them again, but we'll look at that, and it looks like it'll be 35s gusting, 30, 35, gusting 40s, 45s, but very distinct backing off again. So this is, again, northwesterly followed by southwesterly, constant fronts going through one after the other, and that's what you get in the Southern Ocean. But the good news is all the heavy stuff's usually further south, so that's kind of nice. All right, so that's the first few days there. Now let's just concentrate here on see what's going on with this high. So Simon has dropped back a little bit more, 4.9 knots. He stood at 135 relatively over the last 24 hours. Kirsten is 6.9. She's dropped back 0.2 of a knot, or 0.3 of a knot from where she was before 8 o'clock. And 167, and Abolish 6.7. It's interesting to note, when they're not quite close enough to be in the same weather all the time, but usually, not all the time, usually Kirsten is just a little bit faster than Abolish. Only 0.3 of a knot or 0.2 of a knot, but you probably notice that trend. And that's, theoretical waterline, that's exactly what should be happening with that boat. It's got longer waterline than Russell 36. So, looking at the weather, giving Goog a bit of a shake there because he is getting some solid stuff right now. We'll toggle this forward, and you can see, hang on, I'll go back an hour. You can see how fast it's moving. So every one of these is an hour. There's 1 hour, there's 2 hours, there's 3 hours. So in the next 3 hours, it's gone back to a westerly and settles down, and you'll see Goog's course go that way more from the west. Simon, you can see he's backing into this hole. Now the position, the center of this high is really going to play against Simon here. So this afternoon, he's starting to run out of breeze. And look at Kirsten and Abolish, they're flying. So I'm not sure, he's probably only doing 3-4 knots by the time he gets that far. And then everything is going to hinge on what happens to the center of this high. If it now moves to the east, which it looks like it's going to do, he'll have trouble getting out of that. But it's stopped there, so Abolish and Kirsten still sailing well, and Simon now, this is actually 9 o'clock tomorrow, so let's just build this up and get technical here, because I know a few of the Simon fans will be watching. Oh, that's too far. So he probably would have averaged about 4 knots, so let's say 100 miles. So Simon should be 100 miles in advance from there, from where he is now. He might just keep up with it. Okay, there's 100 miles. He may just have enough breeze to keep sailing at about 4 knots, so he'll be happy with that. That's the first thing. That's a day from now. And then we'll keep pushing this through. Oh, I've got to get rid of that to reactivate it. Get rid of that. See if that's working. Nope, still not going. Okay, you got to hit this little button there. That should. Okay, there's 2 hours. So Kirsten's still sailing. She may stay above this little area of lighter wind if she's coming across here. She doesn't want to go down. Looks like she'll get away with that. But again, you can see now the system. Oh, it's holding its own. Simon, he's right on the edge. It's a bit hard to predict because by then he's probably right here. So he's going to have enough breeze by the look of it, if this image is correct. This is the big thing. Remembering it could be anywhere. It could be further down this way. It could be further up that way. So we won't really know. But theoretically, based on what we're seeing there, he's probably still going to keep sailing at about 4 knots. So he'll be losing 3 knots against the others. So a full day of that is 75 miles. and then this is the next day. This is the 16th. Yeah, he'll be just ahead of it. Boy, there's some solid stuff coming here. Abolish will get that, but it's not extreme, so he'll be sailing fast, but maybe come down a little bit. Kirsten will still be out here. So it's actually holding him more. From the forecast yesterday, what we were looking at yesterday, this was a bit different. It was stretching out this way, but now it's formed a very distinct centre of the high, and by then Simon could be past it, so it may only cost him 7,500 miles or something. So that's, but then it's heading out. No, it's still there. This is on the 17th, and by then he's way ahead. He'll be getting close to Tasmania. So I'll just have a look at this, and let's look some distances for Simon. Boom, boom, one there, one here, so that's close enough, and he's about 600 miles, so that could be 5 days yet, so 19, and then allow a day of fudge factor here, 20. I'm still saying around about 20th. Anyway, he won't beat us, that's the main thing. We get in on the late on the 17th, so that's cool. And Kirsten now is near enough to 720 miles behind, so hasn't really gained much at all, but I think you'll see her 600 miles in the next couple of days. And Abolish down here, he's about 320, 330 behind Kirsten. Okay, so I think that's pretty much it. And we'll watch these systems coming through and just keep an eye on everyone. So far so good. All right, thanks for that. We'll see you tomorrow. Oh, no, we won't. I won't be here tomorrow. So we'll see what we can do about the update, because we'll be travelling for 48 hours. But we'll see what we can do. No, I can do tomorrow's. That's right, I can do tomorrow's, but I won't be here for Friday. And